Hello happy people, I'm Kat and this is Copycat Vlog. Welcome to my channel, it's about anything interesting and exciting. Lately I've been thinking that in a way I restrict myself in terms of what I want to publish on YouTube. If I produce travel videos or some videos about my experiences, my thoughts on life, I kind of overthink everything, and I think that's one of the problems of our generation. In this video I decided to open a new era, a new section of Copycat Vlog. And I was thinking a lot about how to name it. The first idea was to call it What Bothers Me. I think that bother or trigger or such words, they have a bit of a negative connotation. What I really want to do is to kind of create a space where I talk about things that I care about. So let's call it like this, things that I care about. What I care about, thoughts, reflections, and ideas that you can agree or disagree with. Welcome! The biggest fear of our generation is not to be normal. And the biggest aspiration at the same time is how to fit in, how to follow the trends, how to be perfect. But we forget that perfect, of course, doesn't exist. And there is all this perfectionism, which nowadays is still being considered like a positive word, even though we know many people who are burnt out, who don't have energy to carry on anymore because they try to be perfect. For me, I heard this expression, never perfect, always amazing. And I think this is the aspiration we should be going forward with. Not trying to perfect yourself, but just acknowledging the fact that perfection doesn't exist. So, working for social media, I especially noticed that. I especially noticed how people just try to be the same. Everyone takes the same courses. There are so many coaches, so many mentors. Everyone's teaching you how to be successful, how to be happy, how to be this, how to be that. And all of this erases the concept of being yourself. I think I'm guilty of that too, because often I tried to repeat certain trends and I was excited to do it, but then when I did it, the excitement was gone very quickly, just like in general social media and instant gratification it gives us. And I think the excitement is gone so quickly because in all of this trend following, I forget who I am. What do I do? Why do I do this for? Do I do this because like this is inner me? This is what I really feel the need, feel the desire to do? Or is this just the desire to be liked and to be approved, and it matters how many views my video will get, because if it's not trending, if I'm not jumping on one of the topics everyone's talking about, then it will not resonate with as many people, and then it will mean that if this video has 100 views, then it's a fail. And the truth, it's not. Because in the end of the day, for example, speaking about this channel, of course, I get really happy when I get very high views. But some of the old videos which I rewatch and I see my younger self talking about things that matter to me, things I care about, I feel like, oh, like that's so cute. That's a younger version of me, and that's what I believed in. And I have this time capsule, sort of speak, and I can just look into it and see things that worried me and things that I deeply cared about. For example, recently I found my old Livejournal, which I was doing in Russian many years back in the day. I honestly thought it doesn't exist anymore. And in this Livejournal, I was just writing my thoughts about life. I tried to be a little poetic, and I thought that the platform doesn't exist. And then I just tried to put the link in. I found this cute blog where when blogs were just popular, and again I jumped on the trend to write my blog, and it was just, in a way, of course, that was already the moment when the trends appeared and the social media started to appear and we wanted to impress people. But it was a lot less than Instagram era, and I think it was much more authentic in terms of how I expressed myself, some of the thoughts, some of the ideas. They were much more pure than what I'm seeing today. I think the biggest concern that I have is that so many people try to follow someone else, and then they don't simply ask themselves, who am I? What am I doing this for? How do I feel about this? we are so overloaded with information. Like recently I read this quote, it said, we need content destroyers, no more content creators. There is so much noise that even, I don't know, even when I go to take shower, I have to put some podcast or I have to listen to something. And don't get me wrong, I think there are some great sources of information that we can listen to, we can learn from, but at the same time, this noise really moves you away, moves you further away from yourself. And I think, like working in social media, this resonates especially loud with me, because I feel like we really forget that we're different, and that's the beauty. And instead of trying to copy someone else, you could really try to look into yourself. If you're an apple who tries to be a pear, like eventually it's just gonna cause some dissonance within you. Like you're not gonna be happy with that. You're still an apple, like, and by being someone else and by not looking into your appleness, you're just not gonna reach your true potential. You would be happy for a second, and then the second goes away, and then when it comes down to the purpose, to feeling content with who you are, with the idea why you're doing this for, you wouldn't have any idea. And I think that's very interesting and deep question to ask yourself. Who am I? I'm still on my way to figure this out, but I really care about learning more about myself, and I love becoming older, because the older I become, the more I know which fabrics I like to wear, which books I like and what I dislike, because knowing what you dislike is as big as knowing what you like. And I'm not trying to be the philosopher of this year in the video. Ultimately, you can have all kinds of milestones, you can become famous, you can become rich. None of it is gonna replace that inner feeling of peace that you feel when you find yourself. It is sad to see how many people around the world try to find that formula. Like, what should I do to get as many video views? What should I do to get as many followers? There is such a desperate desire to be liked, and I do believe that it comes from general generational trauma of many wounded kids who didn't get enough love from their parents. And by being loved on social media, we get that feeling that, yes, suddenly, oh my God, we get so much attention. But is this really an attention we want? Is this really deep? Of course, no. It's a very shallow kind of filling in space with anything and getting likes from people we don't know, we don't care about, people who don't like you for you. They maybe like a video and then they move on. They maybe watch your story for 3 seconds and then they just close it, open the new. It's not about how many views we get nowadays, but it still feels like it is. Like, it feels like in a capitalism world, it's all about like being better than someone. It's all about this created rivalry with whom? Like, are you competing with other people who gets more views and who is more famous on social media? No, of course, because it's pointless. I read this quote somewhere that only you have a privilege to love yourself. And it runs deeply in me right now, because not your parents, not your friends, not people that, you think care or love you, in the end, know exactly how to love you. Only you know who you are, and then you shape the way that you can and should, not should is a very must kind of word, but only you know how to love yourself. And it's really a privilege, and it's really a gift to be able to talk to yourself in softer tones, to be less of a critical teacher, which we are all taught to be, and try to really be kind with yourself. It's easier to be kind to another person, but it's harder to calm down your inner voice and not to let it ruin the whole thing. Recently, I watched a girl, she's just a blogger, like an influencer, and she has a normal body shape, but she's not very skinny, but she's not fat. And she was recording a video where she compliments her body, where instead of saying, I have cellulitis, or I have this, or I have that, she's actually saying, I'm very pretty, I have a belly, but that's okay, because I love my belly, and I learned how to really accept yourself. And watching it made me cringe at first, but then as you keep watching it, you realize this is exactly a thing that we were never taught how to do, to be kind to ourselves, to practice this kind self-talk, to practice this talk where you're not beating yourself up against every inconvenience or any mistake, that you actually just at least trying to accept yourself. And I think that's already big. And I sat with that feeling of, feeling weird and feeling creeped out and feeling cringe about this video. And I sat with it, and usually things that feel cringe to us often tell us about areas we should look into ourselves. So this was my attempt to talk about things that I care about. I really wanted to talk about how it's amazing to be different, and how in the world where everyone copies each other, it's truly a gift to try and the keyword is to try and attempt to be yourself. It is really something precious, and it is really something that not everyone is capable of. I touched upon a few other topics, but I think it's okay because I let this be. I'm going to publish this video and I'm going to watch it back one day, and I'm gonna think, oh, this is so sweet. Not mean things, but like, okay, this is young Kat and this is where she was, and hopefully I will grow, or maybe I will not grow, maybe I will progress, and in some areas I will digress, but that's life and it happens, and this is what I wanted to say. Thank you for watching, and if my thoughts resonated with you, please like this video, subscribe, and let's be different, let's be weird. Hey child, stay wild. No copycat.